a live stream, late night live stream, right here as is, instead of being on the computer. I mean, it's right there, but I figured I could just keep it straight on the content. So, much to my surprise, and the timing is nothing but serendipity to me. I just saw via a YouTube post maybe 8 hours ago. It was official. Yo, Actions, what's up, brother? Tell me if you've seen this or if you've heard any news about this stuff. I so the last Stuck in the Middle episode, there was a big focus on Islam, and that's a word that sometimes we get a little nervous about. We shouldn't be. We shouldn't be. That's why I felt provoked. See, Fouls, I ain't going to bed. Well, I should. I should. I did a 12-hour shift, bro. 12 hours. I am running on fumes. There's nothing sparking between the ears in the center of this dome here. Nothing. But I mean, this is cause for celebration. Maybe this is poor taste. Maybe this shows my bias. But come on, me, Seafowls, Josh on the show. We just had a massive conceptual discussion about the Islamic, well, not even specifically the Islamic Brotherhood, but Islam in and of itself. We talked about Sharia law. Apparently, Sharia means the path. That's pretty dangerous to me, being that they subscribe to something called Takia. Takia is when they can go after all kafors. Kafors are people like you and me, non believers of that particular faith. Pretty shitty when you have a term that can generalize everybody else. And that's amusing because during the show I found myself concerned about generalizing the entire religion and all the people. But I am going to personally celebrate this one as a W. So apparently it has just happened. What's up, Angel Wings? God bless you, sweetie. Good to see you. So if y'all heard the news, Trump is now in the process. It has begun officially today. And by God, I hope that this is not just something that he starts and does all the work to get finished, maybe get it put into place, and the next president undoes it. I hope that's not the case. It has been far too long for not. I'm not talking about all of Islam. I'm talking about the Islamic Brotherhood. You familiar with them? I don't know if I should say. Don't be so confused about some of them that you see on the streets of New York. Pretty much hate preaching about how they are literally here to take over, and that every white male should be kissing their feet, or any non-Muslim should be kissing their feet, worshiping them, and looking to them for protection and forgiveness, because when the time comes, they're the ones that are going to be in charge. So this feels like the right move for President Trump. Another thing I'm just super curious about. So, I love how in the chat everybody was so angry I couldn't pronounce the guy's name right. Mamdani, the mayor. Mohammed, peace be upon you, buddy, but I ain't Muslim. No. No, sir. I'm more aligned with Christianity. Speaking of that, while we're on the topic, I'll ask you this in turn. Do you support the Islamic Brotherhood? Do you support the extremist preachings of the Islamic Brotherhood? Do you hope to see Sharia law practiced on a wider scale? Or, as apparently statistics reveal, a high percentage of Muslims just want to see Sharia law practiced within Islam itself and not so much on the outside, which I kind of call bull, especially when it comes to the Islamic Brotherhood. Yeah, I hear that a lot. Islam loves Jesus and he is celebrated as a prophet. I don't want anybody to just view each other through the scope of just pure enemies. I think overall, the fundamentalist values of each religion can prevail. But when it comes to the fringes, when it comes to any fringe, when it comes to radical Christians, or radical Zionism, radical anything, you could put any flavor there, and if you have radical before it, I think it's a pretty bad look. And if you go deeper and read some of the stuff that is being spewed, it's frightening, it's terrifying, and it's intimidating. And when you have something that intimidates anybody in this great country, I think it's just it's a little glib to not expect some pushback. So, given that, in a perfect world we're all aligned in some way, I ask you this, and I don't mean to single you out. You just happen to come here. I mean, would you mind answering any of the questions I just presented? Do you wish to see Sharia law in practice? Would that, or would that not mean a completion of some sort of mission and or goal of Islam? Or are you happy being a moderate? Are you okay with live and let live? How do you feel about Jewish people? Do you feel that the Jews and Muslims are allies? I think history in general doesn't paint any allies when it comes to religion, but if we get into modern day, that's where things get a little gray, right? So, if you disagree with me being pretty elated that Trump is designating specifically the Islamic Brotherhood as a terrorist organization, I hope you can. I hope you can understand at the very least why. It's not so much that it has to be agreed upon. Good to hear, C-Files. Good to hear. What do you think about this, C-Files? I mean, we had I don't know, 2-hour conversation about it after we ran through our topics of American politics and we teased it in the beginning. I'm glad I didn't go through with this stunt, by the way. I think I really am. At the end of the day, that attention, good, bad, or ugly, it just wouldn't have been something beneficial to my personal life. But, yeah, what do you guys think? I mean, was this something necessary? He has designated Antifa as a terrorist organization, I think rightfully so. Antifa is not just an ideology. I mean, technically, it's a bunch of ideas, but all ideas, at some point, that under that umbrella, it branches down, and we have groups of people that celebrate said ideology. So just like Antifa has its fringe, just like Islam has its fringe, just like Israel gets the guff it does for having the extreme Zionists that want to expand and destroy and get way too involved in our politics and vice versa, our money going over there. All the fringes should be called out equally, and that perhaps should have always been my approach. And if you're still here, my Muslim friend, let it be said, I'm very close with a Muslim family. For years and years, I've had Muslim friends, and I know that's so, it sounds so silly. It's like, I got that black friend kind of a thing. But no, it's true, and I've been very candid with the people I've met along this journey. And I've asked them, hey, if there was a jihad, would you take me out? One out of, let's say, I don't know, the 3 friends that I can recall asking, only one said no, no, I couldn't do that. The others, right dead to my face, said yeah, yeah, I would have to, like without hesitation, just blank stare, yes. I don't know if I can reference the Muslim family. Again, like we worked together for years. We helped it was their family business that I helped for a great many years. Didn't get paid that great, but it had its own bonuses and rewards. But all that aside, I mean, just I guess my curiosity is, do you all believe that this move is the right one? I know not everybody's a fan of Trump. See, fellas, I know you're kind of apolitical, which I respect, especially when you go far enough down the rabbit hole. It seems so pointless to get invested in politics when it's a lot of kayfabe and all that. Hey, Mishka. Yo, Baron, there you are. See, I got your name there. So I did it. I didn't have to hit the save button. So I'm just curious. I don't know. We probably lost my new buddy there. Um, if you've seen the news, I'm just curious as to anybody's and everybody's thoughts. Was this the right thing to do? Oh, yeah, the point I was going to make. It's hilarious to me. Maybe it shouldn't be. I'm not tactful, though. Right after his ultra successful "let's turn the temperature down" meeting with Mamdani and his, socialist communist foothold that he wishes to implement, but suddenly he's forgetting those values and saying, "Yeah, give me money." Right after that, Trump meets with a Muslim, now elected mayor of New York, and then a day or two later, yeah, the Islamic Brotherhood, we're gonna designate it a terrorist organization. I tell you what, the process has begun. I don't know if the ink is even wet on any paper. I don't know if what bill is being passed, but I think, yeah, Comrade McDonough. What's up, Harloa? What's up, man? In my personal opinion, it's all dog and pony show. Left, right, red, blue. The government doesn't give a fuck about you, in my opinion. Yeah, man, I mean, at the end of the day, when we think of all the huge issues, the really big issues that our country has faced, that we have individuals, Americans, have had to look at unfiltered, or hell, I think everything that we look at is already filtered by the time it gets to our eyes. No matter how raw it is, it's somehow through somebody else's rose-colored lenses or some kind of skewed lens so that we see it in a certain way because it's all strategy. It's all their little game of chess. It's the Roman Colosseum. Trust me, there's a lot of that in me. But I still have the support of Trump because he seems to be the heavy-handed guy, just doing as much as he can. I think I'm over the stage where I'm gonna just glaze Trump. He is not an infallible man by any means. It's just the things that people try to get him on so much. They always try to get Trump on a gotcha, and every gotcha has either been proven to be a farce, a hoax, or an agenda. I just learned also that the prosecution or the judge dismissed the charges against James Comey, so the literal FBI agent that was a part of Hillary Clinton's Russia, Russia, Russia uh, narrative will not be facing accountability. So that's another point to the Dog and Pony Show. Uh, People that, well, I was going to say believers, but that seems too disingenuous. I think more than anything, yeah, we're all watching a show. A really, really morbid kind of Twilight Zone-esque show where we're fooled to think that we have any sort of influence. I think social media plays a really, really nefarious hand in even fooling us into thinking that we're taking the narrative back and away from the mainstream media. We have kind of become the mainstream media. Not so much that our talking points are similar, but it's just not that damn different. And sadly, you know, any any apple that is taken at some point will go rotten. So the ball's been moved in the courts of the people, we the people. All of these companies, all these social media platforms we use, they're owned, bought, and paid for. There's influences behind it. We already know it was massively exposed when Biden was in office. The three-letter agencies were all up in Facebook's business. We had the hearings and Zuckerberg admitting to how many agents were there. The fact that there was over 32 agents during January 6th, I mean, how can that not be such a detrimental bit of information that has even the people that hate the 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 other people that went to the Capitol and just say, well, that's kind of strange. So, yeah, sorry, I took a moment to read the comments. Let me see what you got. I will say they've never gotten Trump on a gotcha. See, that's what I'm saying. That's why he's earned I think a lot of the support he's gotten, but you can't deny that he's also losing support because of the Epstein files, first and foremost, even though the man is finally kind of bended the knee, I guess. That's how it has to be put. It's not the way that his supporters would like to have it framed. They'd like to think he was just Billy Badass and forced it through. No. If what I have been told is to be trusted, it's that it was voted so unanimously that he was kind of forced to say, all right, let's put our full powers into investigating and exposing and releasing all of the files. And until we have, again, I think I scrolled through over 300 pages of the Epstein scrapbook, which was made up of a bunch of emails, or they had emails included. Until we see everything, I don't think we can call that a W. But this, calling the Islamic Brotherhood a W, I'm pleased with that. And why? This is where I'm gonna get the Islamophobe word thrown at me. I do believe in my heart, truly, I'm not taking away from the good Muslims, the Muslims that are embracing America, that are trying to coexist, cohabitate, and just live in peace with their neighbors, and not treating us all like kafurs, and not using the strategy of Takia, just like apparently and sorry, Mishka, I'm ignorant when I speak of this, so please point out whenever I misspeak here. But I'm always constantly told about this. This is in the Talmud. This is in the Talmud. There's a Noahide. Noahide apparently is the term used, which is essentially equal to the Islamic version of Takia. So Noahide would be the, I don't know. Do I say Zionist or the I don't want to say the Israeli way of where they do their own thing. It's just what sticks out in my mind is with the Islamic culture, as we all discussed on the last episode, they are the newest religion out of, Catholicism, Christianity, Judaism. And so I think Josh was trying to make the case that because they are the newest, we should be put, and infiltration is another big part of Takia. And by God, how many clips have we seen of Muslims on the street just saying, yes, we're here to take over, so enjoy the time while you have. It's inevitable. There's a rational response to that, and it's to fight back. And I think this move to establish the Islamic Brotherhood, the extremist version of Islam, as a terrorist organization, would be the right move moving forward. I don't think you could have an honest fight back to such a movement when we're already infiltrated, unless we have something actually set within the bills and all the things that get passed that are being voted for or pushed for or paid for when it comes to the process. Just had a flashback to something from the 70s, the cartoon that explains, hey Billy, how is a bill made? And back then we got to see kind of an honest display of how a bill is made from bottom to top, and it always showcased that it needed people that have money. That's always been a problem, and now fast forward to current day, it's all about who's got the money. So when it comes to thinking that the constituency, we the people, have the influence, well, all we got is all those boxes we check and a hope and a prayer that something goes right. I guess I'll flip real quick into the economy. Man, it is painful out here, is it not? I mean, at the location I work at, I sell to a lot of people that own yachts. I'll tell you, and of course, aside from the people that own yachts, there's just regular everyday families. People are spending crazy amounts of money just to tie themselves over for a week. And now that I gotta drive so long, the gas, oh my God. I think after about 4 days, I gotta start refilling. things are rough. This is where I wish, as if we could really be about the America First narrative, we could focus on getting things to just be a bit more affordable. Patriotism is all well and good, but I think when we see action where it counts the most, that would be the biggest W ever. And I don't know. I can't just blame the president. We can't always blame the president. But I mean, he is allegedly the highest in office. So where do we hold the accountability? Do we start blaming entire parties, or do we just blame the whole system? Let's see what you guys have added to the conversation. But yes, I don't care about the optics or the risks. Hooray, Trump has labeled the Islamic Brotherhood, who are very dangerous, and their rhetoric is extremely dangerous. It is literally like listening to a terrorist that came over to this country with a mission to just take it over. And they talk about it as if it's inevitable and already happening. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to see what's happened in the UK, what's happened in all the other European countries, Northern European countries, where the neighborhoods that were once something else. And I don't have any fear of diversity, but when something becomes a massive majority and just changes what once was the staple, I suppose, or the status quo, it's worth looking into. And then you go a little further, you start looking at the stats, you start looking at crime, you start associating the who, what, where, when, why, and they all tie to, well, certain areas. Dare I say, a huge portion of certain populations too. And then in the UK, apparently, and Australia, it's very, very controversial. It's very, very, very embarrassingly hard for the police over there and the proper institutions and the government and the media to talk about SA when it comes to these. Using the term minority does not feel genuine. When these minorities start to take over entire neighborhoods, we start getting reported SA events that get swept under the rug. And why? Is it because their governments have a greater interest in having PR? They're more concerned about tourism and not terrorism? I mean, come on. And then the turnover rate of people and groups that do this together, doing what they do, attacking innocent people, and then somehow, some way, it just barely hits the lips of the mainstream media. You just got to read about it through the internet or the papers, but it doesn't get the coverage that you would hope it would, because it's a massive problem. We're talking about real lives. We're talking about real suffering. We're talking about some serious shit. All right, SA, the R word, all of these things. And I'm not saying it's all one people. Uh, I am adding, though, look at the statistics. Look at, which groups are doing what. Like, there's a whole area in the UK, the square or a park, I forget, that the homegrown Brits don't even go to anymore out of the fears of certain violence and actions and gang activity. And all of these gangs have something in common, and it's that they are asylum seekers or illegal immigrants. And I won't dare say that they're all connected to a singular religion, but there is that aspect too. And to ignore that would be to ignore the very truth that we feel in our hearts. But I want it to be clear, I am absolutely always open to have information proposed that will sway me and change my mind. I hope I'm wrong. Or I don't know. That's a double-edged sword. Because if I'm wrong, then it's a larger problem and it's a human problem. And of course, violence and all of the stuff the disgusting, deplorable things we do to one another in the name of who knows whatever, peer pressure or something beyond, something greater, something in a religious book is terrifying. But all I know is I don't want to see what's happened in those countries start to happen here, and it already has. What is it, Dearborn, Michigan? I cannot believe how prevalent that particular culture has become. It just seems like 80%. It's 80% Muslim now, and a lot of the clips showcase, first off, the two Christian gentlemen that went there to do their protests. They're being called terrorists. Maybe they didn't do the most peaceful protests. They were doing a provocation, right? One burned a book, but for the clip I saw, it was within the privacy of some area that was closed off. And he didn't just burn the Quran, he burned the Talmud as well. So that's where I also understand Josh being like, dude, if you're gonna insult one, let's try them all, and let's see the response. But again, I default to the savagery that we see. There's only one religion out of every religion that is brought up that we see just this savagery that is. It's always like, oh well, they should have seen that coming. You don't draw the Prophet Muhammad. You don't draw Allah. You don't talk about it in an insulting manner. The guy slapping bacon on the book, getting cocked in the face, tanking that shit like a G, and just saying, I got hit harder by the Capitol Police. I mean, I don't know. That my issue is this invisible intimidation that they want us to feel, and then somehow after an act of savagery or murder is done, we're supposed to be afraid still. It's the very fear that they are instilling in us that is creating all of these little protests and actions. Tommy Robinson, love him or hate him, he's abrasive. He has moved mountains in awareness and reinvigorating patriotism. Patriotism of, I guess, can we ever genuinely say homegrown? But that's what I'm going to say here. The actual Britons that were born in Britain from, as far back as you can go to present day. And how many attempts on his life were done? And it's like nobody was actually trying to protect the man. He had to do the boots on the ground, grassroots kind of movement and establish something and actually open up a dialogue with Muslims that are intellectual and willing to acknowledge that the book was written during ancient times and that those times don't stack up to modern times. And within the modern times, that book and all of the things that it kind of shouts as being appropriate for practice, well, in modern times, there's a lot more violent new toys than there is, let's see. We got weapons of mass destruction available. I'm not saying that's what they have, but all the things that they have as their arsenal makes them far more dangerous than they were back then. And back then, whenever that may be, all religions, every religion has shown that they are capable of shedding blood. It's dangerous when you go around preaching and believing the way I think and what I believe and my faith is the one true everything. Meanwhile, you have everybody else saying the very same thing. How does that not inevitably set up a war of some kind or a massive conflict where people are going to lose their lives? I don't want to deviate too much from, I guess, the focus that I am attempting here. Let's see. Did I miss any fun comments? Kiev is burning tonight. Zelensky better make that fucking deal. I think at this point, people need to start pointing at him instead of glazing him as some fucking hero. And it's so grotesque. It's his fault, his ego, his pride. He knows he's fighting a losing battle. The man literally knows that he needs our money and support when we need to be taking care of our own, our borders, our people, our dollars, everything, and he expects everybody else to help him fight this conflict. Zelensky better wisen up, because it ain't America that's gonna continue to fight foreign countries' battles. And I know this inevitably leads to Israel. And when I say Israel, though, let me be specific. Netanyahu. Netanyahu in Israel is the far right version of the Zionist, a term I continue to use so I can make the distinction, just like I try when I add the term extremist to Muslim. There is extremist Zionists that exist, that have their own goals, and everybody wants their pot of gold. Everybody wants America to play along and pay to play, and that's just not the goal. I hope to do some research and learn that we're starting to see the remnants of real change, a real reallocation of where money should be going. Because just for the time being, I'm not seeing it in the everyday American life. I'm seeing a struggling economy, and your common working family. Just, I mean, look at the cost of a fucking house. And hey, more power to all of you folks with your channels that go live all the time and say, "Look at all the neat things I got. I'm doing so well." Well, fucking good for you. How about everybody else? How about the entire country? Can we talk about the fucking forest and not the tree for a second? I think that's rational. Let's see. All right, how do you build equity in Cali? Shit, that's a question that I know I don't want to ask, because I can't even imagine. To me, California has gone so extremely blue that I just don't have the imagination. I couldn't imagine what it's like to try to make a living in California. And I'm glad. I used to miss New York with all of my heart and soul. I'm glad I am not in Mandani's New York. But people forget really easily. Mandani's just a motherfucking mayor. He's not even a governor. He's not the president. He just did his little PR piece with Trump, kissed the ring, bitch. And now, good luck with all those socialist policies you ran on with your campaign. Gonna let a lot of people down. And remember, I know what that's like, supporting Bernie Sanders as long as I did. What did he ever really truly deliver but a bunch of nice speeches that got people really riled up and invigorated and fighting for what at the end of the day? Hell, Bernie Sanders' rhetoric helped establish Antifa. And that pains me to say it, but it's the truth. Because it was through the Bernie Sanders support groups where I ended up meeting actual fucking Antifa freaks. Oh yeah, I know. That's a popular story around here. Yes, I got to speak with Antifa freaks, and they tried to discuss things that they would like to see me participate in, which never came to fruition. But please feel free to clip that and send it to the motherfucking FBI, because I'm sure they'll be so proud of how you're utilizing their resources. I am never going to be afraid to use my life experiences as a cautionary tale. I've made my fair share of mistakes, miscalculations. It's amazing how people, especially when they have themselves a little itty bitty channel, and they think they're some hot shit, and they pretend they've never ever done something. Everybody's got some kind of motherfucking skeletons. The only thing with me is I rip them bitches right out, and I'll throw them right here into the box and into the ether, and everybody's will be done. Well, yeah, I guess you're right with Trump blowing fucking hell. So you're trusting Epstein's brother out of everybody to trust, Mr. Smokey the Bear. Sounds so fucking legit. I love how also Mr. Antichrist Epstein, out of all the people that he could have had a gripe with, he bitched and moaned about Trump, calling him a piece of shit. I wonder why that is. Sounds like Trump wasn't bending the knee and letting him do everything he wanted to do. Funny again how every single survivor, victim, every woman that was there has not said a single solitary condemning thing about Trump, maybe with the exception of the fact that he didn't release the files sooner. But now, in present day, they're in the process of being released and investigated and being made public. Virginia Giuffre, in her biography, called him a gentleman, never went to the fucking island, chartered a plane. That's all we've got. So far though, my mind is still malleable. I have the willingness to change my mind. I'll go from my support to condemnation if we find out he did some fuck shit. But just having his name mentioned without tying it to something substantial is not credible enough for me to just jump on the hate train. And I'm going to assume, Mr. Smokey, that you're possibly one of those triggered libs that's just you would see the world burn before you would see progress, just so Trump can take an L. At the job I was at today, a couple of days ago, some fucking idiot was just walking through inside shouting at the top of his lungs. Oh, Trump was in those files, huh? Can you believe that? Trump's a fucking PDF. Fucking moron. And he went and spoke to my coworker about it. And she's just like looking horrified and cringed out. And he says it again in earshot of me. I just shouted, "Shut up!" And I learned, apparently, like a month ago, the same dude came in and somebody whooped his ass. Some people gotta learn the hard way, I suppose. Oh yeah, that's right. Seavels is an FBI bot. I can corroborate that. Zelensky is a joke. Every country gone to shit. I was just watching the Jane Goodall. I don't. Do you guys know Jane Goodall? That's the iconic woman who spent the majority of her life with the chimpanzees, the gorillas, the apes, led an amazing life in her own right. That's a woman that found her life's purpose and mission, still accomplished other things, marriage, children, all of these things. She has her regrets, but she did this thing that's on Netflix, and it was only to be released after she passed on. And I've just finished watching that. She has some wise words. She was not a Trump fan, but that's okay. You don't have to agree with every single thing with somebody to still look at them and respect them. I respect her greatly. I think she has a lot of wise words, and there's an area that she talks about in a term in it's more than politics, and this is an area that as a conservative I stopped looking at entirely. And I wonder to myself, did I betray my own roots? Did I betray my own values? So here's a term that's usually laughed at when you hear it out loud, but climate change or whatever, I know that word itself has evolved and changed over time and people take it less seriously, but she was very clear because of her experience with the ecosystem how many very important aspects of our planet are being destroyed for whatever sake. I mean, I know there's necessities, but this is something I personally stopped looking into, and to keep an even keel. I mean, if I'm going to be a part of a show called Stuck in the Middle, I need to continue to do my own research and call out shit that disturbs me, regardless of what party it makes look bad or which politician I favor over the other. I will never again in my life call a politician a fucking hero, though. That's a guarantee. I guess Smokey just said his say. Smokey, are you a bot, or are you one of the FBI? Or are you my door dasher? You got my motherfucking McRib out front? Just yeah, show me a nice oil painting of that crazy shit you imagine in your head of Trump and Bubba, fucking weirdo. Find a Go climb the highest hill and find the lowest hanging sword impaled in the ground. And in Minecraft, after you climb that hill, jump down and fall on that sword, and let that be the sword that let that be the sword you choose to Minecraft die on. Silly, silly. No, I don't think his communist, tiny, tiny brother that you can hardly see. Yeah, just well, I don't know which reference that was to, but to even think a member, like of all people, Epstein's brother. Are we really going to assume that he knew nothing of Epstein's actions? Because Epstein, if anything, was someone that lived very loud. Just go look; it's very public. His scrapbook that was made by all of his friends and colleagues, people from his childhood and family. That dude, his secrets were not kept very close to the chest, especially if you were in his circle. I can only imagine his brother, and the fact that people are grabbing onto his brother as if he's speaking gospel and celebrating. Oh, look, he said Trump did that. Like, dude, you got to find yourself another hero. Go pick up a Batman book or something. Spider-Man is all the rage too. Just Trump's brother is not it, okay? He's not the one. Comrade Mad Commie. I think I'd rather keep that because his name just doesn't trigger me. I just can never say it right. I don't think I have enough respect to say it right. Some people like that he's all polished. Even the guy that called in, what's his name, Julian, that is a Holocaust denier. And, oh, shout out to all the flat earthers out there, by the way. LOL at you. Shout out to the people that don't believe gravity is a thing. I'm gonna do a little experiment regarding gravity, and I challenge anybody. I think there's some crack squadians. That's a term I haven't used in a long time. Disprove gravity with this example. Holy shit, the mass just dropped as if there was weight. And, gravity confirmed. Oh, I work with a guy that is convinced the earth is flat. The ice wall. Alright, now I'm going all over the place. So, I don't know. I hope that we can pull off the show tomorrow. The only problem is, well, I got plenty of time to accomplish my hustle. I have $560 to make by shipping out two items sold on eBay. Take care of a little thing with the doctor, and then it's just the morning after tomorrow night. I gotta wake up early as fuck, and with this drive, I pretty much leave almost 2 hours early just to be safe, just to make sure I don't get locked up, deadlocked in traffic that could take possibly up to 47 minutes. I don't want to fuck up this job. It's as simple as that. But, I do hope that we can pull off a show, even if it's just like an hour or two. I know we do like going on for long. And again, I'll ask this, no expectations here. You cannot have a wrong answer. But feel free to just peruse, or if you want a special little treat, check out the last Stuck in the Middle post. Go on my community post. You can click that son of a bitch. And read the comments. The things that people have to say is just fucking amazing, disturbing, and just so humanly flawed. When you read that, collectively, it's easy to see how hope is just like almost a passing fad. There was maybe out of the thousands of people that were talking in that chat, there was like 4 people that were trying to be legitimately kind. 4 people out of 1,000 were trying to speak kindly to everybody, and that was absolutely drowned out. Kindness is just not in style, fam. What can I say? Another conceptual talk I think I'd love to see on Stuck in the Middle is, let's face it, the youngest the youngest generation now, like, they don't play with toys. They don't use their imagination. It's all about, you know, they don't want to be cops or this, that, doctors, whatever the fuck. Their dreams almost get completely just covered, and everything is all about what happens online. Watching things in sound bites, shorter attention spans, losing connection by being overly connected, losing the ability to even want to approach their neighbor, anxiety, and all these conditions being at an all time high. I mean, all of these problems that we're having this day and age. This right here, like, this is something I would love to have a conversation about. And C-Fells, I know you're my guy. Mishka, I think even some of your expertise would be valuable in a conversation regarding just all that crap. Oh, hey, yep. Why are you looking, buddy? Is that the goal here? Is this doing it for you, son? Check this out. Here, yep. Since apparently this is what gets you going. Check out this eyebrow action. It's fucking bee's knees right there. That's free content right there. Fucking yep projecting over here, and that's okay. Your engagement is appreciated too, you fucking weirdo. I'm the one that should be going to sleep, but you're up at 2 o'clock in the morning, going around jumping in chats, looking for, I don't know, a partner. Well, I don't know, man. I ain't got connections like that, but I'm sure if you keep on randomly jumping into chats, you just might find that magical moment and chemistry that you so bleed for. Maybe check out Mandani's DMs or Mad Kami, whatever we call him. I like Mishka's term for it. So, alright. I think. Oh, no. Is this a V-neck? V-neck? No. I've been anti V-neck. Thank God for collared shirts and the amount of black shirts I have. They're very, very fitting. I dig it. What can I say? Alright. It is November 25th, 2025. My God, the new year is upon us. I hope if I don't see you guys soon enough that you guys continue to stay blessed, stay educated, keep yourselves busy, don't let the white noise get to you or even block you from your goals. Don't forget to touch some grass, and if you find a locale, absolutely enjoy that shit too. An unfortunate part of the lexicon or the zeitgeist of current day. So, alright, Angel Wings, Seafowls, Mishka, Actions, I'm pretty sure you dipped out. Even yep, you'll find your guy. I believe in you. To the bush watchers, the bushwhackers, good night, Angel Wings. And yeah, be on the lookout. YouTube.com/stuck in the middle, or just put at stuck in the middle. There's other stuck in the middles, but we're the only one kicking some ass. Knock on wood. Hold on. Just to be safe. Alright, y'all. God bless. Good night.